shik doshi dene she Claire Pratt and Shiaki Ani and Shlimp Lagana Bashichin Honagati Dashiche Tessa Anade Ayasan Nasha. I'm honored to be here today to serve as your mistress of ceremonies for today's momentous event. As is customary, we will begin our program with a invocation. Today's invocation will be provided by the Honorable Key Allen Begay Jr., one of our council delegates. Mr. Begay represents Touchy, Blue Glat, Many Farms, Nazlini, Ceylani Cottonwood, and Low Mountain. Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Begay.
Yate, Shikado should na. Kodo should edge, Hana need nan slunky ani, Eda Shiza, but an Eda Shiche, other this cheat Eda Shanala. Greetings and welcome to the Navajo Nation, Dr. Jill Biden and your staff. Also sending our greeting to the United States President Joe Biden, Vice President Kamala Harris, and Second Gentleman Mr. Harris. Greeting to the Navajo Nation, our Navajo people, President Nez, First Lady Mrs. Nez, Vice President Lizer, Second Lady Ms. Lizer, 24th Navajo Nation Council Speaker Damon, members of the 24th Navajo Nation Council, Chief Justice Joanne Jane, Associate Justice, and District Court judges, and other dignitaries in the audience. Greeting and welcome to the great Navajo Nation. Let us pray. Kodoshin Anshia, Hitashin Hitsodezen Holo, Ebe Hashin Kodo Saton Hitsodezen, Osleto Leto Ilnato Lishik Enos Linigi Aden, Halas At I Kodon Hitsodezen Inilzen. Lord Almighty, we come before you with submission and seeking guidance. Although we continue to travel through this earthly situation, we thank you for today and allowing us to continue to live within your almighty complex creation. Bless our visiting dignitaries and the Navajo Nation. Bless our Navajo people struggling with COVID-19. Comfort those who have lost loved ones. Bless our first responders, provide them protection. Bless our elders, our children, and our precious veterans. We humbly ask and mediate that our earthly struggles and suffering is being heard in DC among our elected leaders and have a true understanding of our Navajo culture. But spiritually, we ask you for strength and humbleness. In closing, we seek strong relationship and communication to better serve our Navajo people and those served here on earth. With this, Kodoshin eight adnek ashidat arts is also Kodo to the Zenlini behasi or le Shiringadia Ashoneloni. A Kodit ego Kodot on Hehan deep needle little Hehan the needle lit. Arts have a hot a behaten like Conan Sabe Baka in it a. Kodot o Hehan D needle lit Kodo. Kinahat Gadan Kodo at San Lingo Konkat Dr. Jill Biden. Ada Kodosh Nahakay, Kada the Kahi. Ada should nadat a. Ada Kobash Pansa the President's Office, Vice President, Chief Justice. Kodo Benashni do Lito Kodo Nhapa Holian do Li. A Kodit ego to the Zenlini Konkat. Bahasito, Behasito in two languages, Shidingadia Ashtoneloni. A Kodit ego, I petition these and all through your Son Jesus Christ. Amen.
For that beautiful prayer, we accept those words and the blessing for all of us here today. For your commitment. Each and every one of you is a public servant, our division directors and our esteemed council delegates. Really appreciative of the leadership that you have provided. Over the last year, we have had some very tough times. I think our resolve was tested, but our faith never wavered. For the Navajo people, we are nothing if we are not resilient. And we're so honored to share that with you today, Dr. Biden, the resiliency of the Navajo people, where we are, where we were a year from today to now. And I think this pandemic has touched each and every one of us in a very personal way. There's not one of us that has not had some sense of loss over the last year. Through it all, however, I've been greatly comforted by the leadership of the Navajo people, our Speaker, our Chief Justice, our President, our Vice President, and our First and Second Lady, and each Division Director here, particularly Dr. Jill Jim, who has had a lot on her shoulders throughout this entire time. So, in Chicago, Dr. Jim, and all of our leaders. So with that, I just wanted to express my personal appreciation and also introduce our esteemed leader, President Nez. I was honored to work on President Nez's campaign. And when people ask me how I keep up such a tough schedule, I simply answer, I'm trying to keep up with President Nez. He was born and raised here on the Navajo Nation, and like so many of us, have chosen to return to do the best that we can by our people to improve the livelihoods and bring prosperity in whichever way we can. He is from Shanto, and he is Ashihi, born for Tonenezani, and his grandfather's clan is Tuatachitni, and his paternal grandfather's clan is Tachitni. I got to know President Nez quite a bit on the campaign trail, as well as First Lady Fifilia Nez. They're amazing parents, amazing partners, and it was just a joy to get to know them as people and as public servants. I aspire and I'm inspired by President Nez, although I have yet to embrace his full thrust into healthy living, nor have I yet run an ultramarathon. I will continue to be inspired by him every day. With that, I would like to hand it over to President Nez.
Nope, your glasses. No. Thank you, Clara. Let's give Clara a big round of applause. She has helped in this campaign to get our President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris elected as well. So thank you for that, Clara. Doyat nikidini do les anol soka la solengi aro ade danichinatagi da isanol tsagi aro kon e ya shitej ashihe e nslon tka nesani ibashichin aro tkodichini da shachiro tkachini da shanala di kon nihinat ani do na din beshmahas annol lenigi khela alajan khada santagi beshmahas an Speaker Seth Damon do nihimakodo olde has aj lajanaka da santagi Joanne Jane aro kodo tsilide no lenigi Arnold sko alla no da here da nihidi nido le chukon hanne nihijukodalia aro e kon nihik e nihinne ba date on kon di de kosen skagina hast e tsata bi chini khana le na konda hada inolne Arnold sko ale da nihinaligi aro Miss Navajo Shandine Parish edo nakhaniala edo hehe kwa nakhaho ato kwa nihinat ani chuni hinat ani liya Alaj ba gani de President Linigi Joe Biden Joe Bai tabdi no got we can't see zon ba gani de you know when you say the word Joe Bai in Navajo, that's compassion translated. And when we were doing the campaign, we put that name to Joe Biden, Joe Bai. And that's how a lot of our elders remember that at the polls. Just thought we'd share that with you today. And we appreciate our leader as well, Dr. Jill Biden, for acknowledging the resilience and meeting with some great and powerful women this afternoon. I also want to recognize our First Lady, Fifilia Nez. You want to use it? Yeah. This is your First Lady here on the Navajo Nation, Fifilian. So that's where I get all the awesome ideas, by the way. And I'm sure it's the same with Joe Biden, the United States. Aro our Vice President, Shana, Myron Lizer. Aro Yizinya, Shana. Aro Yilina Ilinigi, Second Lady Dottie Lizer. And if I could get the 24th Navajo Nation Council, these are our lawmakers. Dr. Biden, if you all can stand, lawmakers, 24th Navajo Nation Council, and be recognized today. Thank you. The magnification of our resilience right here on the grounds of our nation's capital. You just met earlier our Madam Chief Justice, Joanne Jane. Edo Heshma. And we also have our Navajo Nation Youth Council members that are here that are going to be also doing a presentation in a bit. So thank you, First Lady Biden, for making the Navajo Nation a priority in the first months of the Biden-Harris administration. We also welcome Mr. Brian Newland, the newly named nominee for the Assistant Secretary of Indian Affairs. And there he is. If you all can, he's waving back there as the new Assistant Secretary. Welcome, Brian. Many more visits, I'm sure, to the Navajo Nation forthcoming. Welcome, and we met the President, Biden, and Vice President Harris last October. At that time, nominee Biden promised to listen to Native people and understood the importance of the government-to-government relationship. And ladies and gentlemen, you know, with the sacred document that is at the Navajo Nation Museum today, Manny showed the First Lady, Dr. Biden, the treaty, the copy that we have, that establishes this nation-to-nation dialogue that we have with the federal government. The Navajo people came out and delivered the state of Arizona on Election Day, even in the midst of a terrible pandemic. And I was sharing with the First Lady that some precincts even had 60, 70, 80% turnout at the polls this past election. And we are very pleased that the Biden-Harris administration is keeping their promise by having a seat at the table for the Navajo Nation and other tribes. As we welcome First Lady Biden to the Navajo Nation, we have to remember that we are still in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic. But we also want to take this opportunity to highlight the Navajo Nation's success in pushing back on the virus and the success we are having with the vaccination. Each day we are vaccinating more of our people. And you will witness that tomorrow when we visit Tseotoa Medical Center. Here on the Navajo Nation, our Navajo people have done a wonderful job adhering to the public health orders put forth by our health care experts and our first responders. They deserve a big round of applause, and we see many of them here today. Let's give them a big round of applause. Our police officers, our first responders, thank you so much. I also want to recognize and thank our Department of Health and its Executive Director, Dr. Jill Jim, the Navajo Navajo Area Indian Health Services as well. Let's give them a round of applause. And of course, all of the hard-working healthcare workers on the ground. And some of you saw on the way over. They're still in their work clothes. On the front lines and who have sacrificed so much to protect and help our Navajo people throughout the pandemic. We, as leaders of the Navajo Nation, listened to our public health experts, and we relied on the data and the facts to help mitigate the pandemic. And sometimes we wish that other leaders throughout the country would do the same. With the Biden-Harris administration, we've received much needed support through the Indian Health Services, and we are proud to report that close to 95,000 residents have been fully vaccinated. Yeah, let's give them a round of applause. That's 2 doses, which represents well over half of the adult population here on the Navajo Nation. As we continue to emerge from the pandemic, we also remember all the lives lost to COVID-19. We've lost 1,263 net lives to the virus since the start of the pandemic. It's heartbreaking to speak with families who have lost mothers, fathers, grandparents, brothers and sisters, and we are very thankful that First Lady Biden is making time to speak with local residents, educators, and healthcare workers while she is here. I believe your visit will help to ensure and inspire our people even more. Having the First Lady of the United States with us here on our ancestral homelands is historic and uplifting. And as we visit with our Navajo people tomorrow, I want you to see firsthand the strength, the determination, the hope, and resilience in the hearts of our people. Despite all the challenges and the setbacks, the Navajo people remain strong, and we are overcoming the COVID-19 pandemic together. And we look forward to working with the Biden-Harris administration to build back better in the years to come, not only to assist our people, but to empower them to create a brighter future for generations to come. We look forward to partnering with this administration on the plans to invest in infrastructure, especially here where we need that investment for roads, broadband, water, and electricity. As we move forward, we look forward to our time together, and we want you to know that there is always an open invitation from the Navajo Nation to you, President Biden and Vice President Harris. Kodo shio ahe nakadabadi nido lelkon nihe awe nihe massa nihe nala nahani yanigi jonle Washington je ya kon alaje nakada satagi yelina il benachiko alka nature hado kilin deil nesho biche ashane deil ne diche shik eroshna are da isnol tsagi do dan hinaligi nihinat ani bil kodo beshmas anno lenigi aro are khana zanno lenigi kodo atslete dan lenigi nakha alaje dan has tkanigi alka nature don hido nihe are shik eroshna da isnol tsa kodoni hinat ani biken sonzo achot a da ilia dina negi de konsentragi na hast ata ja des kit beach ini khot jo hot a wel de gona aste beach ini khe ebni na ekon hadaino neshik erosh na anolsko he nikidini dolel arabesh mas anolnigi yego dat ido alka nature hodi kon lana yikeni dan zinigi shiba da dil nilo da tu kon trodo besle chida nas kodo nilo nene jo aje holjish digin hije des ot atich nache nason hitzilo deini katole so kult so shini hije hasi dole do he anotsko. Thank you so much. God bless you. God bless the United States of America, and God bless the great Navajo Nation. Thank you so much. Clara?
Thank you, Mr. President. With that, I'll introduce our 10th Vice President of the Navajo Nation, Mr. Myron. Our Vice President is a man of great faith and a man of great action. He has helped entrepreneurs all over the Navajo Nation bring their dreams to life in small business ownership. Mr. Vice President.
It never works the way I want it to. Pardon me. Oops, there you go. Okay, yate ahiato shidene. It's good to be with you all here. I am the Vice President, Myron Lizer, Comanche Nishle, Tohana Bashashin, Do Comanche Dashache, Clash Dashanelli. It's good to be with you all. On behalf of President and the Vice President, we express our appreciation to First Lady of the United States, Jill Biden, Dr. Jill Biden, for visiting the capital of the Navajo Nation. This evening we gather in a significant and sacred place. Look all around you. The Navajo Nation's Veterans Memorial Park, where we honor and recognize our Navajo veterans and Navajo code talkers. Throughout many decades, our past tribal warriors have met in this very spot to discuss and plan strategies to improve the livelihood of the people of the great Navajo Nation. Today, President Nez, the 24th Navajo Nation Council, Madam Chief Justice Joanne Jane, and I are honored to continue that traditional practice to address concerns and issues of our people. Today, we envision a new beginning of intergovernmental collaboration and understanding. Over the past years, the milestones were accomplished through federal partnership, and today, we need to build upon those steps for a better future for our children. Our priorities reflect the voices of the people. The Navajo business owners, who we heard from some of them just a few minutes ago at the museum. Our farmers, our ranchers, our students and parents, and our elders. Our people have endured so much harsh conditions over the time and situations, and it is time to relieve some of that burden and the setbacks that they have experienced. In addition, we also need to support in the areas of economic development and dual taxation constraints, preservation and conservation of Navajo land, the need for financial literacy, and economic opportunities. As leaders, we envision a great and prosperous future for our children. Scripture says that a man is truly blessed when he leaves an inheritance for his children and his children's children. And as we work here and we go forward together, we look for those opportunities. And most importantly, they would continue to be a part of the American dream. The President has said very eloquently, build back better. But on Indian country, I've coined it the great catch-up. We need to catch up with the times. Indian country has been left behind, and this is the opportunity that we have before us with ARPA coming down and all of the other opportunities that we have to work with the administration. We hope that you will help us leave no stone unturned in that great advancement. So we thank you again, First Lady Dr. Jill Biden, for spending the evening with each of us, and we look forward to many more conversations. God bless you.
Yeah, Mr. Vice President, I'm not going to lie. Since the pandemic, that's probably the most exercise I've been getting, going back and forth here. But with that, I'd also like to just acknowledge that the Navajo Nation government is a three-branch government set up much like our United States government. And Dr. Biden, I think, has been you've visited Navajo Nation now at least 3 times. That has to be a record somewhere, somehow. So thank you. And you're welcome back anytime. Next, we need to get a hogan for her, a permanent hogan, so she has a place to come home to. Her own Airbnb hogan, that's right. But Dr. Biden has not shied away from meeting with Native people, particularly with the Navajo Nation. She visited and delivered a commencement address at Navajo Technical University, came and visited the Cancer Center, and now here to visit with our schools and with our education center and our hospitals. It's truly I guess I can take this off. It's truly a breath of fresh air, and knowing the commitment that the Biden-Harris administration has to Indian country is profound, and it's deeply, deeply moving. As someone who's worked in this field for a long time, I can tell you this is not the norm, but it should be the norm. We should expect this, and we should have that partnership at the other side of our federal table. So we're just so delighted and honored. With that, I'd like to introduce Speaker Seth Damon. Honorable Speaker, I don't know if you're the youngest serving speaker, but I think you might be the youngest serving speaker. That's right. And President Nez is the youngest serving president. So, you know, if we don't get this right, we've certainly we've got all the pieces here, and we've got strong leadership with our women in the council, and of course with our Chief Justice Joanne Jane. It's just the time is right for us to move the nation forward by leaps and bounds. Speaker has been nominated to his second term, elected to his second term just this past January. Congratulations, Mr. Speaker. And I often say that he's a neighbor of mine because he represents the communities of Bahale, Chejiltra, Manilito, Red Rock, Rock Springs, and Teyato. Chejiltra is just up on the mountain from Lupton. So I said, Speaker, throw a flare and say hi sometime when you're cruising that way. You know, we joke about that, but the distances here are vast, Dr. Biden, and I'm grateful that you're here to see again firsthand the need for infrastructure and development and all of these important things that we need. They all go hand in hand. Nothing exists in a vacuum. So yeah, Mr. Speaker, and I invite you up to the podium. Let me go ahead and wipe the thing down.
Thank you very much, Ms. Pratt, and thank you very much to everyone here that's present with us this evening. It's a beautiful evening, even though we might have to get bundled up a little bit, but I think this is one of those evenings that Dr. Joe Biden will never forget, especially in this beautiful setting that we are here in our great capital of the great Navajo Nation. As you can see, the beautiful Window Rock behind us, the vast landscape that you've drove through, and the many times that you've been here, Dr. Joe Biden. Thank you from the bottom of my heart and my family's heart, and from the nation, most importantly, for your visit again. And it must be a record for you to be here more than one time, two times, and now it's three times. I don't think that there's ever been any dignitary of that magnitude that has come here as often as you have, and that takes great honor to know that you have great interest in the Navajo people, the Navajo culture, and understanding what we need in order to build ourselves, to build up, as Honorable Vice President Leiser says, stayed into a new environment, new growth, and building ourselves up into this modern world as we know, as connected to the United States of America. And thank you very much, Mr. President, for your words this afternoon and this evening. Mr. Vice President, thank you very much too as well. Madam First Lady, Second Lady, thank you very much. Thank you to all my colleagues, members of the 24th Navajo Nation Council, for being here this evening. It's an honor and it's a great attribute, and thank you again, as indicated, for electing me to be the Speaker of the 24th Navajo Nation Council. To all the division directors, Kehat, for everything that you've been doing through this pandemic and this triathlon of understanding how we need to work together in order for us to go ahead and move this great nation forward. And last but not least, I think that our third branch often gets left out, but I see her often, and I see her almost every other day, and I really want to commend her leadership, her dignity, her awareness, and most importantly, her charisma and admiration to move our judicial branch forward into this postmodern era. With that, Madam Chief Justice, thank you very much, Joanne Jane, for being here with us this evening. With everybody that's been presented and wanting to move forward and what we have a dialogue of what the President has indicated, and what we want to send messages back not only to the White House, but to your husband and everybody in his administration. We take that into consideration, and like you said, you've heard so much today, you've heard it over the years, you've heard it since your husband has been in politics for almost since he was 29 years old, when he was elected as a senator of the great state of Delaware. And I know that carrying that burden, carrying that leadership, and being a wife into that political realm, you have heard everything. Everything that you have can and want to learn, you have learned, and you continue to carry that forward. But what I can say is that the reason why I think that you really, really keep coming back to the nation is because you want to learn more from our Navajo people, and you want to take that back to the White House. I think those kind of instructions from what we have can say is something that was really a whole heart setting to know that we have beautiful understanding leadership in our women nation. We have to request, and I say that with honor. We just lost a colleague of ours in the 24th Navajo Nation Council. His name was Honorable Nelson McKay. And every time he did a prayer, he indicated that one of the most seated powers, one of the most monumental powers, the reason why the Navajo Nation is still here is because of the woman nation. And that is, you heard it today, you're a fierce warrior, and you'll take that back with you. And I think that's something that's you're going to be admirable to understanding. When you advocate for services in healthcare, advocate for services in education, advocate for services and for veterans' needs, advocate for VAWA to be reauthorized, as Madam Chair Amber Crotty had expressed so dear-heartedly, as your husband was one of the creators of that back in the 90s. I think that is something that's compassionately composed in order for you to know that we have not only a leader in the White House, but a friend, but most importantly, a protector of our woman nation. And I think that's set in stone, and that's something that we can really look forward and look at a promise of today's tomorrow for my granddaughter and her next 7 generations. So we thank you, everyone here, for being here this afternoon and into this evening. I just want to go ahead and introduce a couple of my colleagues, Ms. Biden, Dr. Jill Biden. I want to first of all represent, you've heard Honorable Keon Begay. Honorable Keon Begay did the wonderful prayer this afternoon, into this evening, and he's from Botaway Gap, Mini Farms area, central location of the Navajo Nation. And I really want to say, Honorable Keon Begay, thank you for that prayer and moving forward. I know we have Honorable Eugene So, who's a longtime veteran. Honorable Eugene So, if you could please stand. Honorable Eugene So represents the community of Chinle, Arizona. He has been an advocate. He's been a long-term farmer, rancher, but most importantly, he's been an advocate for individuals trying to make sure that we can bring water and power back to his community in order for them to continue farming. I know that you've met Madam Chair Amber Crotty, who has been a leader not only here in the nation, but also a leader nationally on a lot of different issues, whether it be for reauthorizing VAWA or helping past administrations understand what it means when we say missing and murdered Indigenous women, people, and that's something that's a real hardcore represent of what we do here on the Navajo Nation. Anything the nation does, the rest of the 526 tribes follow us, and they know that what we can do is powerful enough to lead them and lead that response for themselves, whether they be from Alaska to Louisiana, from California, all the way up to upstate New York. I have Honorable Charlene So in the back here. Honorable Charlene So comes from an area called Sweetwater, Arizona. If you ever have a chance to go there, you will probably need more than a 4x4 truck, because that road is pretty bad there. But she lives in a beautiful valley area that's right nestled up against the Four Corners, and that's where her area is in her district. She represents parts of Utah, and she's a great advocate for everything that our youth, our children, as a former educator herself too as well. I have Honorable Wilson Stewart, who is here. He's representing Fort Defiance, and this is part of his district too as well. Shares it commonly as with Honorable Edison Wanika. But thank you, Honorable Stewart's a former educator too as well, and he's a very smart advocate that has been leading the way for a lot of the youth in the rodeo community throughout Indian country. And if you don't know, if not too much about rodeo, when you say rodeo in Indian country, you can't say it enough without Navajo Nation being the leaders of this great nation too as well. And we have Honorable Halona here. Honorable Halona represents Tohatchee, Mexican Springs, the corridor along 491 in between Shiprock and Gallup, New Mexico, where you went through on your way to Crown Point. That's the area he represents. And Honorable Halona has been an advocate working on farming in his background. But most importantly, right now, he's really trying to advocate for his people and public service in his area. I have Honorable Otto So. Otto So is a second, I got elected with him back in 2014, the 23rd Council, moving into the 24th Council. Honorable Otto So is our elected delegate from the town, a little small town called Tuba City, Arizona. He's a one-man show there, and he's an excellent advocate for his community, but most importantly, he's an excellent advocate for the state of Arizona as well and what he pushes forward. So thank you, Honorable Otto So. I have Chairman Daniel So. Chairman Daniel So here is our esteemed statesman. Chairman Daniel So has been elected a couple of times back into the council. He took a break, and now he's back. He's better than ever, and he's moving forward. Honorable Chairman Daniel So is a leader not only in our education in our IHS departments and our hospitals, but he'll be with you tomorrow. And I don't want to take too much of his steam because he'll tell you everything you need to know about the culture, the history, and everything under the sun about this great country we call the Navajo Nation. I have sitting right behind him, I have Honorable Edison Wanika. Honorable Edison Wanika is a former delegate too as well. He came back and he was our election director for a long time. Edison Wanika has been pushed for his advocacy. He represents the communities of St. Michael's and Oak Springs in this area here, and he is a true pioneer of what he's been doing in his last career, and he's taken that knowledge and really helped educate a lot of our colleagues here on the council too as well. And in the back, I have Honorable Jimmy Yellowhair, the man in black from Black Mesa, Arizona. Honorable Jimmy Yellowhair was working as a financial manager for the judicial branch for a number of years, and this is his first term here on the council. And I just want to say, if you ever hear about the closure of Navajo Generating Station, where the impact came from, the heart and soul of his community was the one that provided the coal to that power plant. So since it has closed, his community has really been hard hit from the loss of jobs and the real impact value. And so he has a lot of his community members who have now had to leave the nation and export themselves and leave their families behind in order to create an economy for themselves, get jobs for themselves. And he's doing as much as he can to advocate for himself, along with Honorable Nathaniel Brown, who's sitting there next to him. Honorable Nathaniel Brown is also from a community there in Kayenta, Arizona, represents Kayenta, Chichimbato, and Denhozo. Honorable Brown is our lead advocacy right now in spearheading and understanding and trying to really push forth not only on the federal level, but on the state level and even in our own communities on how we can revive our Navajo language. And he's been the forefront pushing that forward as the chairman of the Denez Bazad subcommittee. And what he really wants to express is talking to that. He knows that if there's any way, he was the one that was, I need to speak with her. I want to speak with her. I need to talk to her about. Everybody's going to talk to her about economic development and everything else, energy, but she needs to know about how can we get funding for reviving the Navajo language, our indigenous languages, and that's something that he's created something, and that's something true to his heart. Behind him, I have Honorable Carl Slater. Honorable Slater is our newest delegate to the 24th Navajo Nation Council, and he comes from a beautiful area that's known as in the Chiska Mountains, along where Saley, Dene College is, and Saley, and Wheat Fields, Black Rock, Luachkai, all that, Round Rock and Rock Point, and his advocacy, not only bringing forth from his time and his upbringing there in Washington, D.C., but knowing that he's expressed that interest in helping educate others in what they might not understand in transportation, and now as the vice chairman of the Health, Education, and Human Services Committee. Honorable Slater is an advocate moving forward on a national level for transportation, but most importantly, he's moving forward on a national level here to revitalize a lot of the education programs in the Navajo Nation. In front of him, actually, let me go to the left. I have Honorable Vince James. Honorable Vince James is our delegate who comes from Ganado, Burnside, Kentlachi, over the mountain there. If you keep going another 20 miles, you'll be in a whole nother country, and that's where he's from. It's a beautiful area. It's a beautiful area in the area that he represents along in the whole valley, the corridor there. And Honorable James has come to us he has numerous different experience working for the Navajo Nation government, and that's what brought him to bringing his intuition and everything to the forefront of the Navajo Nation government and bringing that to the council. In front of him, I have Honorable Mark Freeland. Who's representing, who is our delegate from far east. Not as far east as Chairman Daniel So, but far east over here. He represents 8 chapters, the largest district, which is probably the size of Maine. Well, I'm saying too much, but it's a beautiful area, and Honorable Freeland has really stepped up the plate to lead the advocacy for the nation on the State Task Force Committee. So he's really has acknowledged his leadership in New Mexico, working together with a lot of the division directors in his past leadership, but moving forward in his advocacy in Arizona, Utah, and now that we went back to our ancestral lands in Colorado. We were bringing and opening up that door and saying, we're moving forward in there. And to the right of him, I have Honorable Paul Begay. Honorable Paul Begay is, I look up to him as one of our most influential individuals who came from and has worked most of his life. Well, if you didn't know before, he used to work as a young gentleman on the Lake Powell. A long time ago, he was a boat, one of those paddle boat rafter guides for a number of years in his younger days. But through developing his career, he worked at Navajo Generating Station, and he was one of the operators there for many of years. And he worked there until it closed. And unfortunately, he came to the council, and now he's here knowing his past leadership and what he's done, and to indicate everything that he's expressed forward. Honorable Paul Begay has really brought an insight not only to my leadership, but to everybody else, including the president and vice president, on what it is when an individual community and individual town is really hit hard by the closure of a huge economic institute like that. In front of Honorable Paul Begay, I have Madam Chair Charles Newton. Madam Chair Charles Newton comes from our largest community on the whole Navajo Nation, and that is Shiprock, New Mexico. Madam Chair Charles Newton is our chairwoman of our Law and Order Committee, and she is a strict, hardcore advocate on due process and making sure that the everything that we can do and push forward can get done right. But what we need to do is make sure that we work together and get these things done in order for our advocacy, not only on the executive side, but on the legislative side, can move forward and we can create better opportunities in public safety for our Navajo people. And that's what she does right now in her advocacy and her leadership there under the Law and Order Committee. So I think that's it on our delegates. I just wanted to make sure that each and every of them were introduced. I forgot to introduce myself. My name is Seth Damon. I'm the Speaker of the 24th Navajo Nation Council. And to all my division directors, everybody that's here, colleagues, I'm Betani. And that, like Amber Carty said when she met you, that's my mom's clan. That's who I am. I'm born for Nanesteja Tachitni. That's why sometimes I wear those big Zuni shields right here, you know. But my paternal grandfather's clan is Ashihe, same as the president here, so he's my Nali. And then also my Chase clan is Tsebitni. So I come from a place, as Ms. Clara Pratt indicated, from south of Gallup, New Mexico, in a little community called Bahale. But more importantly, I just want to say thank you very much, Dr. Jill Jim. The Pendleton that you have is from the 24th Navajo Nation Council that we gave to you here today to protect yourself and make sure to not only protect yourself, but keep yourself warm. I really, really want to say from the blessings that you've been given, from the blessings that you received, please spread those blessings everywhere that you go, on your travels, everything that you continue to operate in this ongoing administration that you're in the birth of. So again, I say thank you very much from the bottom of my heart for welcoming you here again and continuing to have that open dialogue with not only the Navajo Nation, but with the rest of Indian country. So thank you very much. Yeah.
Yeah, Mr. Speaker, thank you so much. And I know we're burning daylight and it's getting what's in New York. If you'll notice, Chief Justice's hair hasn't moved. That's probably why we were supposed to wear TEAs, because it stands up to the weather. Chief Justice Joanne Jane, Honorable Joanne Jane was confirmed to the Navajo Supreme Court on January 24th, 2018. She led the judicial branch for more than 3 years. Chief Justice grew up and was born in Shiprock and grew up in Tohatchee. And she is also born for Kia'ani, so I guess she's my Nulla as well. So, yeah, Chief Justice, welcome you to the podium.
Yad e Trapahinshle, Kenya Ane e Bashichin, Torachini e Dashache, Trapahe e Dasha Nale. I am Joanne Bitsili Jane, Chief Justice of the Navajo Nation Supreme Court and the judicial branch of the Navajo Nation. President Jonathan Nez, Vice President Myron Leiser, Speaker Seth Damon, First Lady Fafilia Nez, Second Lady Dottie Leiser, members of the distinguished 24th Council, families, and friends. It is an honor to be here. Ya'ate, Dr. Biden, Shade. Hello, sister, and welcome. Dr. Biden, millions reap inspiration from your quote. And I quote, "Teaching isn't just what I do, it is who I am." Thank you. Your father, a ship flagman, and my father, a gunner, were Navy veterans from 2 parts of the world. Your advocacy for veterans, their families, and the military touches the core of freedom. This is who you are. Thank you for instilling joy, excitement, patience for education, which bear up our challenges, inspires goodwill, opens doors to dreams, enhances capacity for learning. This is who you are. Gratitude and blessings are extended to the Biden administration for its recognition of peacemaking and restorative justice, the root of Diné teachings, the root of Diné fundamental law, which is embedded in culture, in tradition, in language, in harmony and kinship. Hajonja and Keh. Keh is a state of being. It is predicated upon kinship and relationships. It fosters human relations through fairness and mutual respect, requires being fully informed, and is given the opportunity to speak. Talking things out under Keh restores hope into harmony. Harmony is consistent with Navajo beliefs and principles. Peacemaking and restorative justice are beacons for all of us here in Diné, the United States, and the world. Thank you, Dr. Biden, for being an advocate. This is who you are. The heart of Diné justice operates on a skill connected to viewing the world holistically. This concept does not have dissension. The Navajo Nation courts are the premier indigenous judicial system in the world. Diné courts have been called the flagship of indigenous courts, and many look to them to protect the sovereignty of all American Indian courts. Today, it is our judicial independence that maintains Diné sovereignty. On April 1st, just 3 weeks ago, the Navajo Nation courts celebrated 62 years as an independent judiciary. Values as hard work, love, hope, faith, truth, enlightenment, and belonging are learned from our ancestors. We leave to our prosperity the patriots, the Natanis, men, women, and children of courage, of vision, of charity for warriors of health, education, the military, and frontline workers. Dr. Biden, Shada, sister, enjoy your visit with hopes this experience will inspire you to return again to Diné and to Diné, our people. May you walk in beauty. Thank you, Ahihat.
Thank you, Chief Justice, for those beautiful words. With that, I will introduce First Lady and Second Lady. First Lady Cecilia Nez, Second Lady Dottie Leiser. We often talk about them in their roles as First and Second Lady. However, they are esteemed professionals in their own right. And I see that Dottie might be running an errand, so we will proceed with First Lady Cecilia Nez.
Good evening. I'm here to introduce the First Lady of the United States. Dr. Jill Biden is the First Lady of the United States, a community college educator and best-selling author. Dr. Biden also served as Second Lady of the United States from 2009 to 2017. Jill Tracy Jacobs Biden was born on June 3rd in Hamilton, New Jersey, to Bonnie Jean Godfrey Jacobs and Donald Carl Jacobs. The oldest of 5 daughters, she grew up in Willow Grove, Pennsylvania, just outside of Philadelphia. She graduated from Upper Moreland High School in 1969, then graduated from the University of Delaware with a bachelor's degree in English in 1975. In 1976, Jill Biden began teaching English at St. Mark's High School in Wilmington. She then became a reading specialist at Claymont High School. At that time, she was also pursuing a Master of Education with a specialty in reading from Westchester University. She completed her first master's degree in 1981.
Yate she dari lizer yinisha. Ki ani nishla my idiskiji bashashin. The atni dashiche kachi ni dashinella. It's really good to be here this morning, and I just want to continue the life of Jill here and what she has done. Jill Biden has also taught English at Rockford Center Psychiatric Hospital, while also pursuing a Master's of Arts in English from Villanova University. In 1993, she accepted a job at Delaware Technical Community College. In 2007, she received a Doctorate of Education in Educational Leadership from the University of Delaware. While Joe Biden became vice president and the Bidens moved to Washington, D.C., Dr. Biden continued her career at Northern Virginia Community College, teaching throughout their 8 years in office. So let's please welcome First Lady of the United States, Dr. Jill Biden.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Oh, please sit down. You know, I've had a great visit here so far, and I just met with a group of women who I now call my sister warriors. And so it was so nice to meet with all of you, and I really appreciate your spending time with me. And I wanted to thank Madam Chief Justice for your kind words. They were just beautiful. Thank you so much. And thank you, Mr. Speaker, and all the legislators who are here today. And I'll thank the President and the Vice President in a second. But, you know, surrounded by the 4 sacred mountains, I'm privileged and I'm proud to be here with the Dene people in Window Rock, your nation's capital. And I'm especially honored to join you on a day that we celebrate and we recommit to protecting Mother Earth. So thank you, President Nez and First Lady Cecilia, for once again welcoming me, now as the First Lady of the United States, to address the Navajo Nation. And I want to thank the Vice President and Myron Lizer and the Second Lady, and to all of the Navajo Nation leaders with us today. So you honor me with your presence. And to all of those who are here with us in person, and to all of us, to everyone who's listening to us by radio, Ya'ate. Recently, I saw a beautiful Navajo wedding basket. The white star in the middle, the red river, the black mountains. And as I looked at it, the break in the circle caught my eye. And I wondered what that space meant. And when I looked it up, I learned that there are different interpretations, but it's often seen to represent the Dene emergence into this world and the path of life. And I read that this open circle represented a broader concept, that the world was created in perfect beauty and harmony. Hojo. While perfection is static, life is not. As the world changes around us and chaos disrupts, We must have a path forward, a way to rediscover and recreate the harmony we need. Adaptability, persistence, resilience, strength. Over the years, these are the qualities I have seen most in your nation. In 2013, I joined Navajo Technical College to give a commencement. I met students who were working 2 jobs and trying to keep up in school when they had no electricity in their homes. I heard about young people who had dropped out because of the enormous challenges they faced, only to re-enroll and become honor students. Persistence. In 2019, when I joined Lady Fafilia and President Nez in Tuba City to open a cancer treatment center, so many people were relieved that they would no longer have to travel hours, literally hours, to get life-saving treatment. That center is the very first of its kind in Indian country, but it will not be the last. Strength. And just last year, your First Lady joined me for a Native talking circle. We heard from tribal leaders about the issues that Indian country faces, and I saw the excitement people had to get out the vote. At that gathering, I promised that as president, Joe and a Biden-Harris administration would stand with Indian country and all of you. And today, as your First Lady, in our first 100 days, I am here to let you know that we are keeping that promise. We stand with you, the Navajo Nation. As you govern, our administration will work in partnership with you, honoring the solemn trust responsibility to tribal nations. As president, Joe has already delivered the largest single investment ever made in Indian country. This pandemic has been so painful. And last May, the Navajo Nation had the highest per capita infection rate in the United States. So many elders and cultural leaders and family members, young and old, had been taken by this virus. We feel their loss deeply every day. Adaptability. Working with Indian Health Service, President Nez, the Navajo Nation Council, and this entire community adapted, committing to safety members that brought down the number of cases. And as of today, the Navajo Nation has vaccinated more than half of those living on tribal lands. With few resources reaching people in some of the most remote areas, the Navajo Nation is a leading example of the COVID response in the United States. You're doing the work. Now the federal government must work for you. We relaunched the White House Council on Native American Affairs to guide our work across the administration. President Biden passed the American Rescue Plan, investing billions to help you continue to combat COVID and stabilize safety net programs. And my husband has proposed the American Jobs Plan, which includes funding for badly needed infrastructure, from running water to broadband, new roads to electricity. This plan will provide good-paying jobs, including right here in the Navajo Nation. And of course, under the leadership of Secretary Holland, the Biden-Harris Department of the Interior will be the stewards of our public lands with a renewed commitment to our tribal trust and treaty responsibilities. And today I've been joined by Brian Newland, is our new, he's standing back there, is our new Assistant Secretary for Indian Affairs. And this at nearly 100 days, and we're just getting started. Tribes will always have a voice in our administration, and we're committed to honoring tribal sovereignty and strengthening our nation-to-nation relationship. On last year's Earth Day, President Nez wrote, "Protecting Mother Earth starts with us." And he's right. It's on all of us together to find the path back to Hojo, harmony and beauty, the world as it should be. Despite the challenges that you've faced, the Navajo Nation lives that truth again and again. You live the beauty way prayer, which is, with beauty before me, I walk. With beauty behind me, I walk. With beauty above and about me, I walk. It is finished in beauty. It is finished in beauty. On this path of life, Joe and I will walk with you. We stand with the Navajo Nation today, tomorrow, and always. Thank you, and may God bless the Navajo Nation. Thank you.
Yeah, in Chicago, thank you for joining us for tonight's event. We ask that you remain seated as we conclude this evening's event. I don't believe there are any more speakers. And with that, we're just really grateful that everybody's been here. Actually, no, it does not conclude our event, does it? No, we have our youth council. I am so sorry, sir. Our youth council here, I think the freezing cold is getting to my brain. If you could please come in and perform our cultural section of tonight's event. No, are you going to do that or up here? Okay. Yeah, come up here and that way you can introduce yourself. I am so sorry.
It's cold.
It is cold.
Yat Arnold Skonshik the Neda Noslini Ado Konik Kea Paka Ohos Aj Hedo Yat Enikidation She Ya Tyli Tom Ain She Na Nest Ejet Kabaha Ainshle Not Otten Etkachini Bashes Chin Might Dish Gijni Dasha Chedo Ashi Dashanala Beat the Gray Wilyede E Nasha. Hello and welcome to everyone that is here with us today and everyone at home that's watching. Our president, our vice president, our speaker, our delegates, and everyone else who is in office. Thank you guys very much for coming here today. And First Lady of the United States, Dr. Jill Biden, thank you for coming. And as a Navajo, on the Navajo Nation Youth Advisory Council. Our words are being heard, our words are being recognized. Every meeting, every saying we have goes to our leaders, goes to our parents, goes to our grandparents. We are the voice for our youth, for our future. Thank you guys, every single one of you. Thank you very much for listening, for being here today. I know it's cold, but we can do it. And with our culture and our language, it's not very many who learn, not very many who speak fluently, not many who is willing to sit down and learn. As our job, if we want to teach the children, everyone that is in school, everyone that is growing up, we want to revitalize our language, our culture. With every single step of the way, every voice counts. Thank you guys very much. And with this song I am going to sing, it was composed from Canyon Cito Moonlighters, all the way from Tuajile, New Mexico. It says, our creators from the east, south, west, and north, be with us, teach us, take care of us. These are the words, and I'd like to perform the song now. Thank you guys very much. Yeah.
Okay, my wits are back about me. Thank you, Ihiha and Skago, for that beautiful song. Sitting here watching the back of Dr. Jill Biden, listening to one of our youth council sing a traditional song was pretty amazing and inspiring. With that, we will be welcoming up our Director of Human Resources, Dr. Cecilia Fowler, to provide our closing benediction. At the conclusion of the benediction, we ask that you remain seated and in place, and we thank you for joining for tonight's event. I also wanted to acknowledge former Congressman Bill Redmond, who's in the audience today. Congressman, for being here. And acknowledging Knifewing Productions, a local media company who's been able to provide us with tremendous sound and production services today. Yat shikedo shidne hiha shicha kodon kya ho gatli ba hensen sisazido ado ade in hilhonoslonido da isenol tsai hiha shikedo shidne nide shide shady ma ide skijnin shlon todichin bashchin trabaha eta shiche ado tlasche eta shanale ado totus aholiene ade yisit shike halan shikedo shidne hiha ye go bit khata inos ne hakas ado nasi destuinada de nido ko nahas ago hat nahas ho wago net that the desk as ko pa no sendo bit kha inos ne. At this time, I'd like to thank you. It's an honor and humbling to stand before you. Dr. Jill Biden, thank you, welcome. May beauty be before you, behind you, below you, above you, and all around you and your loving family and your loved ones from back home. Thank you. Ado kodo ni de eshaho ado kodo tsalate dan lini ni hit ba here di ni Chief of Staff Paulson Chaco, if you could please rise. Olya in hinat aha large and hasada Deputy Chief of Staff Milton Blue House, Attorney General Doreen McPaul, Deputy Attorney General Kimberly Dutcher, Telecommunication Regulatory Commission Christopher Becenti, Division of Social Service Deanna Neswit-Gishi, Department of Health Dr. Jill Jim, Division of Public Safety Jesse Delmar, Division of Economic Development J.T. Willie, Division of General Service Tom Platero, our Washington office, Division Santee Lewis, Division of Community Development Dr. Pearl Yellowman, Environmental Protection Agency Valinda Shirley, Navajo Hopi Land Commission Robert Black Jr., Division of Transportation Garrett Silversmith, Division of Natural Resources Dr. Rudy Shabala, Veterans Administration James Zworline. And I also serve as a Division of Human Resources Division Director. Thank you. Ich het nan kidish nido leshik edosh ne kodoshe todi zindo le anit at nike otla da holnodo kodoshi be elche indol ni ich het nkidi nido le anotsko kodohojno dole na stan chama yadelkel zehlistan twistan chalhe hayol khal no de tsui halchelke halchewan na talke na taltsui khadin ani ni yajne await ni tlon honti I ani be nanti ne na on kha holieni kon a kuichin kon na ini kha ya at e kon hilna hot at ya at e on hilna standole kinahal kede kon dihnat ani leni esayil ina ini kon khania bik ejit lidole nas kon net ne khashine la hon nihinahat a yis a na khanedi la yesnatsadole kinahal kede na khayalt kidole saton na khana adole khashine la kon hidnap khahozbaka enta hasti o ad na kha ye yalt kidole na jono Nika tutahates kezole. Sato peson lini ho ni heha tatsos patole shamana hasan lini. Kon de etio alibi ya at eko ni hinate yes katole. Not ani itin etalate not ani. Adon shaya shana a sahom. Bet yil ina il ini ado ba alchin elaje kit na gani alto. Ado kon telate nat ani bedan hit o jini ho. Yat eho nata huit ado yat eho nat hit nate nistole. Ado kon kebe eko ho. She yaj dan le, she na, she mayaj dan le, shade dan le. Alto. Ado besh bahasa anedan lini kon da alto. Yat eko nada kedole. Yat eko hon hit nen lini ho banata huit atole. Ban sanani kesole ha ishi yikachanan lini ho belek etahas yadole. Ado besto anilso. Alla ansi tanon hiket aton len hitzit aje. Naha anna hol yadole ho. Nike konta del kedon hivonesh kishnas hago. Adon hitzes ketnas lago ho di anibi njono khadilye. Is kana nishin lini ho bich khana ini no in hinsen. Adonat ani aalscha benashni dole. Besh basa ana ado tratnas nile. Ado kon de bebenant adatan le keyapenat adan le. Ado e yakon oltraten lidl traten ten hesji bebe de utjini aalscha yat eko kon nadi kedole. Nahas twin hizani dan lomo yat eho. Nada kedole nasko net njono ho benate yes katole. Njono kon hak as do hadon lini ho ich nada olno naha ein hinsen dole ho. Ni kama na hasan lini. Ado kon naha alchine til cage kain lini ho da ultra ado akloichi ho ya at ho na khabl na ho dole. Adon hit a lot so shine she yaje away dan lini ko nzaden da ke ho bel hon dole bikeden I dole. Ni hine nani che a kuije ni hit so zen lini na khana helato ni yin lini na khana helato le kon so ga so zen lini a kun shehde be nana si dole a kuije e ya hon hit na hun dole jamana stan ya del hit ado di in the net an lini a kuije kon so zen lini hit dit an lo kon so go e ya ho bela islai o islai ben ni hina da hol ni dole nas go net ne jin hit wajonasli Ich habe schon edo shit ne. Die in hilda hollon dole.